Hello guys, you're listening to Callyalater Podcast, episode 4. My name is John, and I'm here with Kelly.
Hi guys, so we are both college students, and this is our 4th episode of our podcast. Today we're going to talk about college, everything we learned from our first semester, what we did and did not expect, and then what values college has brought us. And last week we talked about everything from dating, whether that be like defining the line between relationships, just like all that kind of stuff. So definitely check that out if you haven't. And if you did, thank you so much for listening. And let's just get into it.
Let's hop right into it.
Yeah. So I guess I always feel like I put these little disclaimers out, but I think it's important to remember that college might not be for everyone, and everyone does college or they're after high school. Honestly, their adult years so differently that there's not one route to go down. That's correct.
Yeah. College is a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess what we learned our first semester. Do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I like to put this one in bold because I was not too good at it at the beginning of the semester. Go to class. Go to class. Don't skip. It will, in the end, hurt you more than you know. Some colleges are actually now starting an attendance program where you're required to attend, which is nice. But if you're still one of those colleges that don't require you to go to class, just do it. It's worth it.
I went to every class on my first semester.
I didn't do
John
that.
did try to talk me out of going to a few classes, saying, "Oh, it'll be fine." But I'm just like, I'm paying for it, you know.
Yeah.
Especially like being one of those students that I do pay for my classes. It's like I want to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
With my education and stuff, but it does make a difference, especially if you have that attendance policy. With our program, we have to be there, except for like a certain amount of classes.
You're allowed to miss up to 3 classes with our program.
Yeah. So
but
I think that's probably like more of an art major thing where like you kind of have to attend so you don't miss out. But that's a good one. Yeah. So my thing is there's a lot of homework. I remember our first like class, like every class you had that like syllabus week, and I remember every professor was like, for every hour that you're in class, expect 3 hours of homework outside of class. And I was like, each one of my classes at the time were 3-hour-long classes, and I was like, 9 hours for each class? How am I going to do this with taking 5 classes? Like, no way. It turns out to be very true. Did you experience that?
Yeah, good 45 hours of homework every week.
It's like my whole weekend was just homework, and I was like, I don't vibe with this.
Yeah.
But I did it.
We did it. We survived. We're on to number 2 now.
Okay, do you have another?
Yeah, find your friends. Even if it's just one person, and again, we've talked about friendships in the past, so if you need some tips on how to find good friends, make sure to check out that episode. That was episode 2, I believe, right?
Yes.
But just find your friends, and then once you find one, you'll find more. It's kind of just a downhill run at that point. Yeah, you kind of like
meet their friends.
Exactly.
It just kind of works really well.
If you meet one, it multiplies, and then you'll have a nice little friend group that you can rely on. You know, you can get help with projects, get help with all these different things, and it's just nice to have some people to talk to.
Yeah, and I think we talked a lot about that in our second episode about friendships, but I put that on mine as well, is to say hi to people. I think that's really important. You mentioned that as one of your big tips in that episode, but honestly, like, say hi to the people that sit next to you. Sit next to people. Don't like isolate yourself because you're going to ultimately maybe need their help. But then one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and I learned our first semester, and again, I did take a gap year in between, so I was a little bit older going into my first semester, and Snapchat is more common than texting, and I was blown away by this. Personally, like, having a YouTube channel, my Snapchat is YouTube related. I kind of went into it with like, I don't really want to share this with people, but then asking for their number was like, oh, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Yeah. I just thought that was so interesting.
Everybody gets everybody's snaps. It's no longer, phone numbers are obsolete.
Yeah, and like Snapchat, you can just have the streaks, but you can also do like group text messaging and stuff.
Yeah, for projects and things like that.
If you don't have Snapchat, I recommend getting that if you're a college student.
Definitely.
That was all my tips.
That was yours? Okay.
My little talking points for this one.
So I do have 2 more. I kind of already do this going into it, but it definitely solidified itself. Don't get behind. Make a to-do list and stick to it.
Definitely.
I use a Google Calendar to block out all of my time that I'm going to do homework, and then we'll talk more about that later, but I also on the sidebar have a to-do list with every project and its due date. And it also just feels really good to be able to go and check off those boxes and be like, all right, I'm done with that project after working on it for 15 hours.
Personally, I'm more of a like paper and pencil type person. I do have an agenda, and I think that's a really, really good thing that you brought up, is to have an agenda or some organization for your homework, for your classes, so you don't get confused because there's lots of different deadlines.
Definitely. And the last one for me, this is a little side tip, and it kind of goes back to that thing we've always stated in every episode. Every situation is different, but evaluate textbooks before you buy them. Unless it is absolutely required that you're going to need your book week 1, go into the class and see and feel it out. Wait a couple of weeks before you buy your textbooks because they are extremely expensive. Don't buy too quickly. Because
I put that into a different category, but we can go off on this for a few minutes.
Because I have spent in the 2 semesters now, I've rented my textbooks, which is for me the smartest way to do it. You buy them online.
There's an even smarter way.
Exactly, you buy them online.
If you're okay with the digital copy, you don't even have to have the book. It's automatically, you download it to your phone. You can still rent them. I think I paid $100 for my second semester for 5 textbooks all online, which I thought was really good. That's a steal.
Yeah, throughout my 2 semesters, I probably spent a little bit over $500 on both of them, renting them out. And
the first semester was expensive.
I think I have used and gained knowledge off of 1 textbook out of the 10 I have rented.
Yeah. First semester, definitely. I went to the bookstore, bought them there, and it was like that rush of, I know I need to have this before class. And in all my classes, I took 5 of them. I think we only used 2 of the textbooks, which I was like, oh my goodness. Especially coming from someone like my parents pay part of my school, but like having to buy my books myself, it's kind of it's just like hard seeing you spend so much money on something that you don't even end up using.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, textbooks.
Textbooks they're such a difficult situation because there are classes where, especially once you get into like if you're going for doctorates or things like that, you're going to need them. But for like your initial gen eds, if you're just getting into class in your first year, you probably aren't going to need them because you can Google a lot of what you need to find out. You can Google
a lot of it. There's a lot of free stuff online, but also
go to the library.
If you can like borrow them in the library sometimes, but also if your friend has the book. I'm not saying mooch off your friends, but like, hey, you want to have a study date or just like study together and there's ways around it.
Oh, there are ways around it, yes.
That was a good topic, like good thing bringing it up. I like that. Okay. Is that all you had for that?
That is all I have for that,
okay.
Yes.
So then we also wanted to talk about what we did and did not expect our first semester.
You want to take this one?
Sure. So what I did expect going into the first semester was meeting new people. Again, I took a gap year before. We can have a whole episode going into that if that's something to be talked about. I'm not sure. But I was kind of like, I want to be more social, and I figured school was the best way to be social, especially with people my own age. So I went in like thinking I'm going to make friends. Like that was the mindset. Again, as a like fashion blogger, YouTuber kind of thing, I saw this as an opportunity to wear different outfits all the time. So like that was like one of my big things is like I knew going into it that I just wanted to try wearing new outfits along like every single day, but also kind of seeing what people are wearing. I thought that was very interesting. And then my third and last one for this little category was keeping up with YouTube and fitness. I thought this would be a lot easier, but it wasn't. So like finding the time to do everything, because again, like I said before, there's so much homework outside of the classes that I was like, oh, I'll have weekends to keep doing my fitness and everything, and it just all changed. Like I had to start doing like 5 a.m. spin classes to get everything in place. So that's what I did expect going into it.
All right. And as far as what I did expect, I fully expected the classes to be difficult, and that proved itself. There were quite a few classes, especially rolling into the second semester, that hit pretty hard. And then the second one I put was the No Sleep Life is Real. Pulling the 2, 3, 4 in the morning projects.
It's true, and then throw a nice 5 a.m. workout into it.
Yeah, it gets rough.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that little triangle. Like, are you going to have a social life, school, or sleep?
Pick two.
But then also throw in, like, if you're already working, like, I already have, like, my whole YouTube career. I had to keep that up along with fitness. Yeah. So it's like, pick 3 out of the 5. Okay, and then what I did not expect, again, I just keep emphasizing this, there's so much homework.
There's quite a bit of homework.
So much homework. And I feel like as an art major, it's like hard too, because like you have to wait for perfect conditions. Like for photography, you had to wait for it to be sunny, or certain types of lighting where it's like, okay, I have 2 days left to do this. Let's hope it's sunny tomorrow. You know, like that kind of thing. It just was like stressful. But then also, we already talked about this, but the price of textbooks and how you don't use them. Like, it just like hits a nerve. And then the wide age range of everyone in my classes. Yeah. I really was expecting it to be people right out of high school, which for a majority of the, like, all the people I met, it was that. But there were a lot of people who were a few years older like I was, which I thought was awesome. And then, again, I did not expect it to be so time-consuming.
Yeah. It's definitely, I did not expect that, but I expected it to be time consuming, but not as time consuming as it was.
Like, I knew I was taking on a full time college career lifestyle, but I was kind of like, oh, I have really good time management skills. I'll schedule it all into 3 days. I still have 5 or 4 days off. I was like, I can work with this. No, it doesn't.
That's not how that works.
It was hard.
So for me, one of the biggest things I didn't expect was the professors to be so relatable and understanding.
Okay.
I mean, there are those choice few that everyone in the entire program hates, but that's okay, you know? You're gonna get that. I'm sorry, that was very negative.
I still haven't met anyone that I don't like professor-wise.
But there are quite a few professors that, you know, I've made friends with, and that I can just have a conversation with, and it's easier to, they're easier to talk to. And
something I did not expect is how easily, like, I don't know if easily, like how you were saying they're relatable, like the professors, is a lot of professors and like students like follow each other on social media and stuff, which I was like not expecting because it's so different than high school.
Yeah, me and my professors have some mutual followings on Instagram.
Yeah. I just think that's so, like, it blows my mind. Yeah. Like, whoa, okay.
So for me, how knowledgeable my peers were, again, rolling into it, you know, I didn't expect people to know their stuff coming into this degree, because I expected it, you know, come in with no knowledge whatsoever, and everybody has to, you know, learn something new, which is true to a certain extent. But now, especially rolling into the second semester, looking at some of my peers' work and seeing how absolutely mind-blowing it is, really shocks me, because I mean,
another thing is, like, sometimes, like how I mentioned they're older, they already have like a degree in some other field, where it's really cool how they can use their previous degree with an art degree and like combine it and then just blow you out of the water with how cool their stuff is.
Definitely. And the last one is my enjoyment of it, how quickly I learned to love my classes and schedule. I kind of rushed into the college thing and kind of just chose college on, you know, chose the school I committed to on a whim, but I've learned to love my classes. I love my peers. It's been shocking how fun it's been.
I think that's something that I wish I would have added to it, is I really did not expect, but at the same time hoped for it to be as fun as it is. Like, I've had a good experience.
Definitely.
So far.
Same here. All right, and now for the final one.
So then our next talking point that we wanted to talk to you guys about is what college has brought us.
Yes. So for me, one of the biggest one is, granted, I somewhat had this before, but I was nowhere near as good at it as I've become now, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn by saying this.
Subtle flex.
But time management, like I said earlier, I have the Google Calendar that I block out my times. That way I say, okay, homework between 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock, these projects need to be done by this certain point, and then I can check them off the to-do list. It's forced me to get organized in life. Yes, that's the best way to say it.
I still feel like I'm a hot mess.
At times I agree.
If I'm being honest,
I am,
like,
me too.
I've always been a very organized person, and I think time management is so essential with being a college student, but it's still very hard to find a balance between everything. And I'm even, like, we're done with our first semester, and I'm still like, ooh, need some work on that one.
Yeah, definitely. So also I put engagement. It's really important to interact in your classes. I guess this is more of a tip as opposed to what college has brought to me. But talking in class is super important. And coming from a super antisocial person, I've had to learn to do it at times, but it really can help you learn. You know, just asking that question can really, you know, you're asking a question that 5 other people want to ask, but don't have the power, you know, don't have the, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like the nerves to do it.
Yes, that, yeah.
The worst, though, is there's classes that you have to participate in for the credit, and if you're such an antisocial person, it's like, it builds stress and anxiety onto you. Yeah. But if you just start practicing doing it, it makes the, like, anxiety go down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then finally, I put self-discipline, which kind of goes hand in hand with time management. But I've learned to use my time more effectively, be more efficient with the blocking and everything. Blocking is a huge thing. There are tons of YouTube videos on it, but it's something that I've had to learn to use, and I recommend all of you use it. Time blocking is huge because it really allows you to get your mind in the mindset of, like, okay, this time is only homework time. I'm not allowed to touch my phone. I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to do that. It really forces you.
I wish I had that.
It really forces you into that mindset, you know?
But I'm gonna need, like, a nice time blocking lesson. Like,
okay.
Teach me how to do that.
I got you.
So I mentioned time management is key. So you have to figure out what works for you. I don't really do time blocking. I do, like, a daily to-do list, which works for me. But I will also do like a weekly to-do list and set certain days for certain projects. So like Monday and Sunday were usually my homework day, where like Friday, Saturday I'd film and do business emails, all that kind of stuff, like the behind the scenes of what I am working on, and then my class days. And I never scheduled more on top of my days that I had classes, just because I get tired very easily and I don't want to push myself too much.
After 2-3 hour classes, you're wiped. You're
exactly.
done.
And especially since I was first semester waking up at 5:30 to go to spin 5 days a week. So it was just like balancing it all out throughout the week and not overdoing it, but also that weekly to-do list really helped. And I also mentioned flexibility is so important.
Yeah.
I think especially being in an art major, you have to be flexible, because if you have a group project, you have to be able to wipe your schedule clean to work with your group on certain days, which is not the most fun thing to do. But like, I love having my Fridays as my me day, because I don't have classes, I don't have to do anything. It's like a work day, and I'll just sit down from 9 to 5 and get it all done. Where if that's the only time my group can meet, I have to move everything around to get, because school's my number one priority. And I think going in with the time management, I always prioritize it. So like, my family always jokes about this, but school's my number one priority, then my business, then my health and fitness, and then like extra stuff that I like to do. It's just really helpful to have like, okay, I know all my schoolwork has to get done before I do this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's like important.
No,
and then another thing you kind of touched on with engagement is social skills. You really need to work on this going into college, and I think I learned a lot about it, whether that be saying hi to friends or just adapting to how people communicate. Like I said, I didn't know Snapchat was the way to go.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get used to adapting to what is the new norm. And then my last thing is, I noticed how competitive I am with myself, and I think this is a really good thing, because I really want to get good grades. And like, my brother was a straight A student, and I'm like, I'm gonna be like my brother and get straight A's. So
gotta
brings out
put up
the
or
inner,
shut up, you know.
Yeah, brings out the inner competitiveness in me.
Yeah.
But that's what I think college has brought me so far.
Yeah, same here. So nice.
So again, if you guys want, you should definitely follow us over on Instagram at callyalater podcast. Our personals are linked in the bio. We've been posting like 3 times a day. It's a lot of fun. You guys, we're so close to 100 followers, which is so exciting.
On it.
That's like one of our goals. And then we also have a Twitter, which is callyalaterpod.
Yep.
And you can tweet us.
Yes, hashtag tweet you later.
And we were going to have questions coming soon, like from you guys, to start including into our podcast. So I came up with 3 questions to ask John.
Okay. All right.
I'll answer them too, so it's not just all on you. So what is your favorite college memory so far?
Favorite college memory so far? That is very difficult.
I will answer.
I was gonna say, if you can, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you take that one.
If I'm gonna be super cheesy.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, are we going cheesy here? Exactly.
No, but my other favorite college memory, I think, would have to be just like, it's so weird, but like running into people that like you have so many common interests with. Like, it's just, you're meeting so many new people, and it's so surprising to me like how many of those people have similar interests or goals in mind. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool.
Okay. Nice.
I don't know if that's like necessarily a memory, but I don't want to go into too much detail.
No, I get that. For me, it had to be, I am going to not necessarily go into too much detail, but I'm going to go a little more detailed. We recently, about a month ago, shot a video project with some peers and got kind of thrown into a group. We had some people that we knew, but we also had some new people in there. I mean, we shot like a little mini movie. And that was in
this group.
Yeah, you were in that group. Exactly.
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed putting all the time into the editing and getting getting the final product out of it and seeing such a good result. So for me, that's probably my top one.
I think it goes into too, like, it's finally like the things that you want to do in life. Like, we picked a very specific major that kind of is like an art major. It's like what you want to do, and it's fun, like learning how to do what you want to do, like seeing it fall into place.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember your first day of first semester?
Oh, my first day. Yes.
Okay, give us some deets. I don't think I knew you the first day because we didn't have classes that day.
No, we didn't.
So this is, okay.
So for my first day we had every semester in our degree, we have a big seminar class with everyone in our degree in that class.
First day?
That was my first day.
I had a first day before that.
Yeah, so I walked in the morning, 9 a.m. class, sat down, pulled out my laptop, and then was immediately told that this laptop that I just bought, that was couple $1,000
mandatory for the class,
mandatory for the degree, that we could not use and we had to put away for this class. So I closed my laptop and sat through the entire 3-hour-long class, nearly falling asleep the entire time.
Wow. What'd you wear?
That I don't remember.
Okay. My first day, I remember I had an afternoon class, and it was English. And I went into the class, and I, like, sat awkwardly next to these people. Like, I sat in a group, and they were very nice. We turned out to be very good friends.
Nice.
We're all Snapchat friends. And I remember I wasn't nervous, but I was excited. And it was just, like, I was, like, so curious what everyone was wearing. Like, again, fashion. I have a whole vlog on my first day. But I don't know how to describe it. I just remember the day very vividly.
Nifty.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Any advice for someone going into their first semester?
We've given a lot of good advice throughout this episode, but one that we haven't really touched on is don't be scared.
Yeah.
Like, don't go in nervous. It's going to be fine. Everyone is in the exact same situation as you.
Yeah.
They're all walking into their first, the first session of this class, whether it's their first day or not, but they're all new to this, you know? It's not just you.
Yeah, I like that. I think, again, for your first day, just go in, wear something that you're confident in, because that tends to make you feel more confident in yourself. Sit next to someone, say hi, try to make that new friend the first day, because everyone's kind of looking for a friend. And then also pay attention in class.
Oh, yeah.
All those little small point projects count. They add up, help you get that A. Another tip for someone going into the semester, I had one, I was thinking of it when you were talking, and it slipped my mind. I don't like when this happens. But I don't know, just be you. And then, also, after you, like, the first week, I feel like the first 2 weeks is really hard. You start getting assignments, especially after the syllabus week. And I remember having, like, a big freak out. I'm like, is this even what I want to be doing? Write it out. Go the whole first semester, and then if it isn't for you, then make that decision.
Yeah.
But I think you have to go more than just a few weeks.
Stick to it.
You have to stick to it. It is hard. It is challenging.
Well, yeah, we had people in our degree that after the first week, never saw them again.
Yeah, exactly.
They were gone.
And I think it's fine to drop, because, again, college isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
But I would say write out the whole first semester to to decide.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my big key point to this.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank
if
you
you're
all for
watching
listening.
here on YouTube, definitely subscribe.
Leave a like.
Yes, give us a big thumbs up. And if you guys are listening on other podcast stations,
If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, let us know. Either on Instagram or tweet us. Let us know where you listen.
We should share the sweet comment we got. So someone DM'd me. It was seriously so stinking cute. And I'm not going to say your name just so it's, like, private. But you guys send the sweetest DMs, and I love hearing that you guys are liking our podcast. So they just said, we finished listening to Call You Later, and I love it. I can't wait to watch more and hear the advice and stories you and John have to share. And I'll even think about turning into some questions for upcoming episodes, which is really fun. We're going to start doing that on Instagram and Twitter. And she just said that she relates so much because she's a college student herself. So
that's awesome. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you. It seriously made us so happy. But definitely subscribe, comment, let us know what you like, everything like that. Reach out to us. We'll respond.
Oh, definitely, we will.
Definitely. So next week we're going to talk all about getting out of a slump. Personally, I feel like I'm low-key in a little bit of a slump.
Oh, yeah. Everybody gets in a slump from time to time.
Like, I feel like our routine's just so out of whack. So we're going to talk about how to get out of a slump, different types of slump, and defining and realizing you're in a slump. Slump's such a funny word, and I just said it like 5 times really fast. All right.
All right. Well, that'll be all for this week, guys.
Yes.
Again, thank you very much for listening.
Yeah. Call you later.
Call you later.
Bye.